Spike planted.
Big. The bet's low.
One enemy
Bet's
remaining.
low. Minus 52.
I had him 26.
Yeah, you got it.
Just suck her out of cover.
I don't know where she is.
Probably
If I were
backside.
to protect, be main.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Pulling the cord, blocking vision.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh,
All that.
Come now, come on. Diffuse.
that is funny.
Trust me, it scared her away. That's why it worked.
I would.
Yeah,
I would.
You earned the best. You earned the best.
Oh,
If he was
man.
backside and just saw all those stars going down, dude, he was out. He was like,
No,
no.
no.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Valorant video. So, today's video is most likely my personal coverage with Astra. Once she's released publicly, we'll do some versus videos, get the community in on all this content, and have a lot more fun. But this will be the last video directly from me, with my personal experience with Astra. And yeah, I'm going to be playing some gameplay in the background during my playtest phase. If you just want to see this gameplay highlighted, we actually do have a moments channel, which is mainly for highlights, but I have my own gameplay montaged and highlighted on there, just in case you do want to go see it. There's two montages. I played with some well-known players. But anyways, you've read the title, and it's quite the bold statement. And in the end, this is more so speculation than anything, since she's not really released yet. But while playing with a ton of other players, a lot of Radiants, the likes of Ethos, some people from C9s, people from Team Liquid, etc., I'm forming an opinion based off of discussions I had with these players, and that's important to note because it adds a little bit more merit to the speculation, and it'll make these points that are discussed a little bit better. Alright, so let me get straight into the first-hand impressions of Astra with a lot of these pro players, high elo players, etc. So the first thing that made us all laugh is that she's really weird. Riot stepped out of their comfort zone with this one, and I think that alone is a topic I'd like to quickly discuss. Her kit is so different than anything else they tried, to the point where none of us had any idea what was going on, and it was hilarious to see that when the trailer dropped, you guys were just as confused. You know, your first impression on the trailer where you're like, wow, that's pretty, but I don't know what's happening. That impression was what we had literally playing her. Like, just starting it out, we were so confused as to what was going on, and things did not get better after the first game. Like, after a whole game, you understood the controls, you understood the idea, the concept, but actually executing her abilities properly is so confusing and mind-boggling, you can barely ever tell what's going on until you get good at her. And you will quickly be able to see in the gameplay footage in the background, a lot of times while playing this agent, while playing Astra, you are executing plays in this secondary form for your team. You're not making a play for yourself. You're not like... Riot claims you can, but in all our playtesting, we haven't seen someone play her aggressively. You're in the backlines setting up plays for your team. A lot of times you're going to see people get super hyped, like, oh, we just got like a triple kill, and it was thanks to our Astra. But from the Astra player's perspective, you don't see this because you're behind a wall in the astral form, listening to your teammates. And this is her biggest barrier by far. Like, it's a barrier that we have not seen in Valorant yet. We always knew Valorant relied on communication, but Astra's entire kit almost feels like, other than the smokes, as of right now, almost feels rendered useless without at least some team coordination. Now, I'm not saying you 100% need it. I think very low elo, you can pull off some nice aggression plays, but to her max potential, to allow her to be used very well, you need a lot of communication, because unlike, let's say, Cypher, we know Cypher needs a lot of communication, but at least Cypher has visuals, right? Your team literally will see them flashing yellow across the map. You know what I mean? With both the trap and the camera, or you'll hear Cypher like yell, like, I see them. It's very obvious communication. With Astra, you need your team to say someone is coming through tree, so you set up your star beforehand. Let's say they will tell you someone is exiting through tree. You're gonna have to have that star pre-set up at all the choke points, hoping that you had one set up on tree, And then your team is going to tell you they are, let's say, 4 people pushing, and you might want to put up a smoke to slow down that push. Or they might say that they're at door, and once they're at door, you'll pull in the suck, pulling them all in together, allowing you to make a play, or allowing at least your teammates to make a play. But in your astral form, you did not see them coming through tree. You can't see the enemies. You have to have your team tell you where they're coming from, what their approach is, have these stars set up at the choke point, and then execute them based off of timing. I was seeing these Radiants yell at each other, right? Like coming down through catwalks, 80-degree angle, this, that, all this perfect information. But just because the Astra activated her ability to slow, the enemies were far beyond the point of the call out already, and nothing happened. Now I know this is making her sound weak, but that's not quite the case. I'm more so pushing the fact that her skill floor is very high. I mean, again, low elo just doesn't 100% count, because I think as an Astra player in the lower elo, being able to just smoke off choke points is already really good. You can check angles using your suck, you can pull people off of your angles, so just using them in safe ways, like smoking off choke points, or line of sight, sucking people out of angles, those are the aggressive Astra plays that will work in the lower elo. But I feel that when it comes, as she scales upwards, her playstyle shifts drastically, and that's why I think she's going to change Valorant forever, more so in the upper tier of play. Now, again, speculation, I could be completely wrong. However, I could make a good bet that after a little while, I don't know if it's near future or far future, more likely in the further future, we're going to see Astra such a prominent player in the pro scene and pro tournaments. It's going to be mind-blowing, because letting go of that much utility, like leaving that much utility on the table, doesn't make sense. Like a concussion, a displacement ability that no one else has. Like I said, a lot of people were like, I absolutely love the comments, getting creative, right? Like swarm grenade with a suck ability to do a ton of damage. Like that is a very fun way to use her, and it's going to work a lot of the times. But using the suck to check angles for free from a safe distance is huge, right? Like putting the suck ability, putting the center point outside of an angle and then activating it will pull enemies out of cover, right? You can check that from astral form, from a safe distance. All you need to do is have your teammate ready to peek that corner. You pull that suck. If no enemy comes out, you know that angle's clear and you keep pushing forward. Using those abilities to gather information, using the communication through teamwork is what's going to make her so important. And concussion does something similar, though because it doesn't displace them, it's not very good for corner checking, more so an aggressive play. You have the concussion and then you attack. Let's say if someone's defusing, you can cuss them and rush. They're not going to be able to do much. You have smokes. Man, dude, the smokes is where like no one can leave her on the table thanks to the smokes. We're talking about a smoke that lasts longer than the cooldown's ability, and you have 2 of them. You're also talking about 5 stars, meaning you can place up to 5 smokes. But that's a fake news, because you actually have unlimited smokes, because if you pull back a star, it leaves a small smoke behind, and that small smoke is just based off of the cooldown on the star, meaning you pull back a star, it's just going to be that little bit of a cooldown, and then you can do it again and again and again, essentially saying that there is unlimited smokes on an agent, unlimited short smokes on an agent, with a ton of long smokes, up to 5 long smokes on an agent, and that is not counting her suck ability or her concuss. And what's crazy about all this is I haven't even mentioned her ultimate. Like, I kept using the phrase utility powerhouse, but that might even be an understatement. So last but not least would be the wall. Now the wall will scale with game knowledge and team execution, but in the end will be used in similar ways. However, the skill level really scales with the wall. I'm going to give you a Radiant example in Bind that we saw happen during the playtest. Someone placed down a wall, splitting defenders and attackers side. They were attacking, and they split the defenders towards the backside. So they put a wall that went over both teleporters. They placed down that wall, rushed in as fast as possible, and then took TP. But because it muffles sound, no one heard them take the teleporter. And then they just all popped up on the other side of the map with no information to the enemies. And that is what the wall is all about. It is about denying information to your enemies and then using that denial of information to make a big play. And taking that phrase the way you want to, how can you say that? That phrase alone just shows that she's going to scale with skill level. The fact that it's about denying information and then using that denied information to make a play, that's not something everyone will be able to do. That's not something that every team will be able to do. That's just a fact. So, in conclusion, why do I think she will change the game forever? Well, same way Cypher was super high picked in the pro teams, but maybe not too much in the lower elo, is maybe in my game as well as yours, things will go on kind of as normal and a lot of things haven't changed. But there's two reasons why I think Astra has changed the game forever. One, the complexity of her kit and Riot's ability to dive very deep into kind of pushing what a tactical shooter can hold is huge, because I know Riot from League of Legends. Once they push that button, they keep pushing and pushing and pushing, meaning if this agent was this complex and came out, we can expect more and more complex agents to follow up in the future. That's one reason that Valorant has changed forever. The second reason Valorant has changed forever is because I think the amount of utility that they just gave her will enable a lot of higher elo players to play in a lot of different ways. Like, I think she's gonna dominate the controller role way too heavily, at least in the higher elos. So that's probably the two reasons I think she changed the game forever. But if you disagree, let me know in the comments down below. You guys will be able to form a better opinion when she goes public. In the end, playtests are very, very, very limited. Once she goes public, everything can be flipped on its head. One patch note can flip everything on its head. So this was more so a discussion-based video on my opinions as well as others as I play tested her. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, consider subscribing, join the Discord using the link down below, check out our Patreon to support these ideas. If you did make it to the end, let me know in the comments, because this is a ramble video, so usually these don't do very well, but I wanted to put out something, let my thoughts go. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.